And now it's time to introduce the next speaker. That should be Terry Harbort, the CEO of Talisker Resources, a junior gold mining and exploration company that recently became Canada's newest gold producer. So congratulations to the shareholders, I should say.
Thank you very much.
Well done. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Welcome everybody for coming along today, and it's a real pleasure to be presenting Talisker Resources to you. One of the few success stories in junior mining who's been able to make the transition over the last 5 years through explorer, through resource development, into project development, and recently, just last month, into production with our first gold sales from our flagship asset at the Bralorne Gold Project. Many of you may know the Bralorne Gold Project, a historic producer, a historic camp or district in British Columbia, produced 4.2 million ounces over 40 years at an average recovered grade of 17.7 grams per tonne. Still holds a position as the highest grade, largest gold producer in Western Canada, and we're very proud to be bringing this incredible asset back into production. Some of you may be already our shareholders, and congratulations if you've ridden the last 350% share price run that we've had over the last 2 months. In our view, this is really just the beginning as we execute our vision as a company to become a multi-asset or multi-mine producer developing district-scale gold belts, of which we have 2, leading to the production of more than 200,000 ounces of annual gold production. Our mission is to do this within the next 5 years, accelerate and really capitalise on this high gold price that we're seeing. Fortunately for us, we're located in what is the heart of mining in British Columbia. Many of the major operational mines in Western Canada are located within driving distance on a major highway network from our Bralorne Gold Project. You may know some of these, Highland Valley, the largest producing copper mine in Canada. New Afton, owned by New Gold, Canada's largest block cave. Copper Mountain, currently in production at 65,000 tonne per day production. So a really incredible pedigree that's located around where we are and indicates some of the massive endowment that's in this region. We're very fortunate to have an incredible amount of hydroelectric, so cheap green power in the valley where the Bralorne Gold Project's located. And we're connected to grid power, part of the reason that we could get the project up and operating very quickly. In fact, about 15% of British Columbia's power is produced in the region where we are. Having highway access allows us to explore utilisation of existing milling infrastructure. And there's many options close to where we are. We're currently trucking and processing our ore at the Merritt facility owned by Nikola Mining. And there's many other options within this area, areas where mills are under capacity and we can truck our mill without having to spend the capital, the time, and go through the permitting hurdles of permitting our own mill and constructing our own mill up front, and gives us the ability to get into production, get into cash flow, and then use that cash flow to build our own milling infrastructure. We're also located to a large series of population bases. Most of the population are in South Central British Columbia. Vancouver in the bottom left-hand corner of the slide, but also the mining centres of Kamloops and Kelowna very close to where we operate. A very important thing in Canada, as it is here in Sweden, is the climate. We can operate all year round. Anyone who's a skier will recognise Whistler. We're in the rain shadow of the coastal range. We don't get a lot of snow, about 2 to 3 foot a year, so not so good for the skiers in our team. But it means that we can operate all year round, both in an exploration sense and in a mining sense. The final important thing is easy trucking access into the major port facility at Vancouver. So a very infrastructure-rich area, and something that we've integrated into our strategy to get the project up and into production at all-time high gold price at minimal capital expenditure. Looking at our share structure and capitalisation, currently about 144 million shares out, 180 fully diluted. All of the warrants that we have are currently in the money and are being exercised right now. Unfortunately, this slide has aged over the last week. We closed yesterday at about $1.70 Canadian with a market capitalisation of 250 million. So things have changed, and we expect them to continue to change as we continue to execute. Our shareholder base, we're majority institutionally held with institutions and shareholders, about a 50-50 split. Some significant names in our shareholder base, led by Franklin Templeton at just under 10%, Arbiter Partners out of New York, another 10%, and the Phoenix Gold Fund also at 10%. We're currently in the process of removing all of our debt. We've just converted $6 million worth of debt, or we will be later on this week. So clearing the books and having a very clear capital structure and debt structure. We've currently got approximately $21 million in cash in the bank. So we believe we're well positioned for growth. From the first 5 years, we did an incredible amount of work. And congratulations to our team for executing a lot in a very short space of time. About 170,000 metres of drilling. Our mineral resource estimate, taking the resource from a historic 100,000 to 1.7 million ounces. We finalised all of our First Nation agreements and have developed very good relationships with our First Nations, and we have a lot of profit share agreements and operational and trucking agreements with our First Nations. We completed our portal construction, our permit amendments, and our decline development, all in that 5-year period where most junior exploration companies are still poking drill holes in things. This year, a really seminal year for us. As we transition into production, we finalised all of our operational agreements, started our in-vein development and then our stoping development, seeing our first gold being shipped and sold September this year, and now we're in a fairly steady state of gold production as we continue to ramp up over the next couple of years. In 2026, the first half, we're looking at finalising our update to our resource in PEA. We're estimating that we can bring in another 800 to 1 million ounces into our mine plan next year with that resource update. We'll also be starting to look at the engineering and permitting works to bring in our own mill. We're starting off with toll milling, external milling, and that allows us to build cash flow so we can fund our growth internally, fund it organically. We're also looking at the development of our second mine, the Olympus mine, and we'll have a look at where that sits, about 2 kilometres from our active Mustang Mine. So again, we're developing a district-scale, multi-asset company. As we move into 2028, we'll be ramping up our production profile to about 1,000 tonnes per day. We'll be looking at hitting about, we think, 100,000 ounces throughout the course of 2027 and have a steady state production profile from 2028 onwards. As we get into 2029, we'll expect to have completed the permitting for the development of our second mine, and we'll be starting preliminary work on the development of our third mine up at Congress. We'll have our mill implemented and we'll be milling our own material. So inverting our scenario and looking to build our production profile to 2,000 tonnes per day and targeting 200,000 ounce per year production. So an excellent growth profile over the next 5 years. This is where we're currently at with our year 1 production plan. Development so far on 6 levels. We've extracted the lower levels of the stopes in the blue that you can see. So between the 1060 and the 1070, we're currently in development down to the lower levels below this, to the 1045 and the 1030, and we'll continue to stope that this year. The photograph there is our first batch of concentrate that was sold. Our gravity concentrate product runs at about 40 to 50% of gold, so percent, a very high grade product, and our sulfide concentrate that you can see there averages between 80 and 100 grams per tonne, so a very high value gold product that's coming out of our Mustang mine. We're fast tracking our development now. We really have a window here of several years to capitalise on this all-time high gold price. I think we all accept that we're in a very good bull market and we have to develop and mine as quickly as we can and make as much money as we can. That's what we're all here for. We're currently in the development across to our second mining area, the Bralorne West area. At Bralorne West, there are 5 ore bodies. We're developing 2 spiral declines. That'll give us 20 working faces per level, and we've currently got 30 levels planned. And that's only because that's as far as we've drilled at this project. So that'll be coming online throughout the course of next year. We'll be ramping up to 500 tonnes per day by the middle of the year, and then by 750 and 1,000 by 2027. So a very clear path for us. We'll be changing this forecast with our updated mine plan. We'll be bringing 2027 into 2028 and 2028 across into 2027, capitalising on this high gold price that we're seeing. Everyone talks about upside in their projects. The fortunate thing for us, it's very low risk upside. As a historical brownfields camp, we have a lot of historic data that's around our project that we're now validating to bring into the resource. Our initial resource that you can see in the golden colours, 1.7 million ounces, goes right from surface. It sits in the ownership gaps between the old mines. We're not doing any remnant mining. We're not poking around in the old mines. These are brand new discoveries sitting in the kilometres between the old mines. In the blue box is our current mining area, the Mustang Mine. We're looking at right now developing our second mine where the possible second portal is. That will be the Olympus mine, and that's where the majority of our resource is. What's clear is directly below our resource, there's a lot more gold. Historically, this project was developed down to 2 kilometres depth. It was the deepest mine in Canada until Kidd Creek took it over. So we know that these ore bodies, these veins, these high-grade gold veins are continuous to at least 2 kilometres, and we see no geological reason why they don't continue onwards. So we'll be expecting to be able to mine this for a very long time, to 2.5 or 3 kilometres, and potentially mining it for an additional 40 years, surpassing what it was historically mined at. The horizontal lines that you can see and the dots, they're historic drift assays, developed at 50-metre levels. Everything you can see is above 3 grams per tonne, so above an economic cutoff. The purple areas, if you can see them, are above 30 grams per tonne, so very high-grade ore shoots. This area that we've got defined there, we're just validating that now with our QP, and that'll come into our resource and come into our mine plan in addition to those gold areas that you can see. And we think adding another 800 to 1 million ounces, so taking our resource up to between 2.5 and 3 million ounces. So a lot of runway, looking at least 2 operational mines producing 100,000 ounces each, so 2 years, so about a 10 to 15 year mine life. Everything we've talked about so far sits in the middle of that map in a 6 kilometre area. We talked before about district scale multi-mine or multi-asset development. We own the entire district, 33 kilometres of strike length, 15,000 hectares. There is over 45 historic producing veins along that trend. many of which haven't had modern work done since past the 1970s. Some are historic resources. The Congress area, located to the north, 186,000 ounces at 9.1 grams, was only ever drilled to 200 metres from surface. And we know that these veins can go beyond 2 kilometres. Some of these we've drill tested ourselves. The BRX, we got almost an 11-ounce intercept. So following the same path. And ultimately what we're looking to do is invert our milling strategy. Use our current strategy to truck our ore, generate cash flow, build up a cash pool, use that capital to build our own mill and build a hub and spoke scenario where we develop our own satellite mines and truck that material into a central processing facility. So really, it's a very straightforward story, very simple to understand. No complex geology to interpret. This is a straightforward growth strategy. We're up and into production now. It was low capex and rapid startup, utilising the infrastructure that we have around us. Highways, grid power, and toll milling facilities. Our initial resource was very strong. We're one of the top 10 high-grade producing projects in Canada. We think we can expand this resource, led by known data by the historic maps and level samples that we've validated and brought in, and we see a pathway to beyond 5 million ounces. And a growing profile here, firstly, to about 100,000 ounce production within the next 2 years, and then doubling that to 200,000 ounces and beyond as we bring our second and potentially third mines into production. That's Talisker Resources.
Thank you for that, Terry. Very interesting, and very interesting to see a company that is just on the edge of going from one category to another. Do we have any spontaneous questions here on the floor? Because then I will expose my ignorance, and I will ask you here. You're saying that you're using offsite toll milling to reduce initial cost. Is that common?
It depends where you are. In infrastructure-rich areas, traditionally in Western Australia, where I'm originally from, it's used very commonly. There's a lot of milling infrastructure. Okay. Also in the Abitibi, it's starting to become more and more common. I think we're one of the first groups, or we are the first group in Western Canada to be able to utilise existing infrastructure. And I think it's the way of the future. I think we need to be more innovative, and really capitalise on existing infrastructure, reduce that early capex that has a massive dilutional effect, puts a lot of debt burden on projects. So I think the ability to innovate and think about how we can do things better, cheaper, faster, reduce our permitting and mine closure cost is the right way.
So do we have any on the floor here? And going from prospecting to production, have you seen any increased or interest from global majors or neighbors?
There's always interest along the path when you have a project with the calibre of Bralorne, that from hard rock and alluvial has had 5 million ounces. So it's a world-class deposit. The reality is we don't really need help or interest at this stage. Our pathway is to build a significant company, and once we've built it, then it's the time to look at interest. But at this stage, we've got a clear path, good access to capital, we're generating cash flow, so we don't really need to entertain that at this stage.
You're in a sweet spot.
In a sweet spot, yes, fortunately.
Very interesting. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
And we give him a round of applause here.